Hi there, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be talking about the Hcpc registration process for international applicants as at 2025. So are you a biomedical science graduate or you're a science graduate, so you study biology, microbiology, biochemistry as the case may be, and you want to begin the Hcpc registration process? This video will help you a lot. I'm going to be focusing on the application steps and the English language requirement. Without much ado, let's get right into it. Hcpc is the governing body for health and care professionals in the UK. So if you're thinking of working as a biomedical scientist in the UK, you will need to be registered with the Hcpc. So whether you studied biomedical science in the UK or in any other country, you can actually apply for the Hcpc, but there are just two different routes. So in this video, I'll be covering the international route. So to be able to apply by the international route, it means your qualification must be from outside the UK. You studied biomedical science or med lab science or whatever the case may be in another country that is not the UK. That is when you can apply by the international route, and it also means that you've not previously registered with the Hcpc. So now let's get into the details of the process. The first part I'm going to be focusing on is the pathway for biomedical science graduates. The first thing you want to do before you start anything is to self-assess yourself. Look through the Hcpc Gov website. They are looking for practical training. They are looking for if you've done certain courses. Do I have this? Does my qualification cover that? Now, if you self-assess yourself and you feel like, yes, my qualification matches this and everything that has been stated according to the Hcpc standard, so the next thing you want to do is to start preparing your document. What are the documents you will need for this application? I'm still going to talk about that in detail as we go on. Once you've gathered your document, you prepared your document, you have all your documents ready, you create an account on the Hcpc platform. The good thing about creating the account is if you create the account today, you do not have to complete the whole thing, so you can always sign out and come back to complete your applications. But you always want to try to make sure that you have everything ready. So once you start your application, at least within a week thereabout, you've completed the whole process of from filling out the details and submitting your documents, to paying your scrutiny fee. The next thing is, after payment, your application will be reviewed, and when your application is reviewed by the Hcpc body, there are three possible outcomes you can get. Either your registration has been approved, or then they'll ask you, okay, yes, we've seen that you've done this and this, but we will need you to have further training. So they will say further training required, or then your application will be rejected. But when they reject your application, you'll be given feedback. They will give you a detailed feedback of why your application was rejected. The pathway for science graduates. So if you did not do biomedical science as in your undergrad and you want to become a biomedical scientist in the UK, the first thing you have to do is to have your qualifications assessed against the UK standard, and that can be done by visiting the IBMS website. So the IBMS is the Institute for Biomedical Science here in the UK, and they are the ones who can actually help in assessing your qualifications against the UK standard. Once that has been done, they will tell you whether you require top-up modules or you require bridging courses to be able to match up with the qualifications of the UK. Once you've done your top-up modules or your bridging courses, what the IBMS will give you is something called a certificate of competence, and that is stating that, oh, now your qualifications is equals to the UK's biomedical science qualification. Now once you've gotten that, you just have to apply to Hcpc through the international route. Same thing, very simple. The only thing is that the time frame will be different because you have to go through the IBMS process to have your qualifications assessed, and that also will cost money because the IBMS assessment process is also a different application from the Hcpc. For the required document, the first thing they are going to need is proof of identity and address. This could be a bank statement or a document of some sort, and this will have to be certified by someone. If you go through the documents, they will tell you the people that can actually certify your documents. The next thing is the course information form. This is the big document in the process, and because this document, your course information form, is actually a couple of pages documents that would detail all the courses you've ever taken, the hours you've spent on it, what each course basically entails. You're going to list the course you're going to take, what the course module was about, how you were assessed, and also how many hours you spent on the course. Most institutions will have like a template for people who have obviously gone through the process in the school. I think most schools now, a lot of people have gone through the Hcpc process, and most schools will have templates, so you can just ask around, ask your colleagues if they have the course information form template. And if they don't have, you might have to take the course information form and literally fill it out. But this course information form will have to be vetted by your school department. So you have to, your HOD, your head of department, or whoever is the head of your department, will have to vet it and sign it and say, yes, this is the course information form from my school, like stating that yes, these are the courses you were taught and these are the correct hours you spent on each course. So you're going to do it. If you spend 5 years in school, your course information form should carry all the courses you did in your 5 years. If you spent 4 years, your course information form should carry every single course you did in your time at uni. The next thing you're going to be actually providing also is your degree certificate and transcript. So for Hcpc, you don't have to send official transcripts. They also accept student transcript, so you can get your student transcript as far as they've been vetted and like signed from your school. Even if it's not the official one, you can upload it. Prior to now, if you were taught in English, you could just show a document stating that, oh, your degree or your course was taught in English, and that English language certificate could be waived for you. But now, as of January 29, 2025, it has been said there's just a limited list of countries that are qualifying to be able to have English language waived for them. I'm going to put them somewhere on the screen here. And basically, countries like Nigeria, before we could have English language test waived for us, but now you have to write IELTS. So now for the English language certificate, you have to either write IELTS or TOEFL, and then it has to be less than 2 years. Another thing you're going to need is professional reference. So if you've worked after school, like you're done with school, maybe you've worked in a place for your internship or any professional experience you've gotten, you have to get reference for every place you've worked in. So every place you're going to state that you worked in, you're going to have to get professional reference and contact details for your referees basically, and saying that, oh, these are the people that can vet me. You're going to have to provide that in your application. The last thing, which is very optional, is translation. So if your first degree or your document, basically your certificates, are not in English, you have to have them translated to English, and they will have to be certified translations before you can submit your application. As of April 2025, the scrutiny fee for Hcpc is now £678.38. So everything is in pounds. That's the scrutiny fee. So upon completion of your application, at the end of the day, before you can submit your application, you need to pay the sum of £678.38. And once you make that payment, then your application will be submitted, and then it will be reviewed by the body. Now, processing time is always 16 working days. It's always roughly about an estimate of 60 working days. So it can be a little bit less or it can be a little bit more, but that's like 3 months. But the tips I'll say for a successful application is, very first thing that I mentioned it earlier, is start early. Document collection takes time. Make sure you have the correct documents. Start early. Plan ahead of time. Don't just do everything on a whim and just send any document, and then you have to maybe start all over again on the process. Now, one thing you need to know, that scrutiny fee of £678 is non-refundable. So if you make any mistake and then your application is rejected, if you're going to start all over again, your application, that money is gone. Your scrutiny fee is a one-off, non-refundable fee. You cannot get that money back. It's non-refundable. So you want to make sure that you plan properly, and every document you're getting the right document. You're double checking all your submissions. Like, before you submit, don't just fill one time. Go through everything that you've put in your applications and make sure you double check them before you submit. And also, one thing I also want to say, please go through before you complete your application or during the process of your application, please go through the Hcpc site regularly, just checking for updates, because things can always change. Just so you are aware, in case anything has changed in terms of what they need or in terms of what they are accepting for the application. So regularly go to the site. Don't just listen to, oh, I've watched the video, this is what someone told me was the process while she was doing ours. Check the site, check it regularly to be sure that everything is still as you know it to be. So once you submit your application, you don't later hear that, oh, this was how you meant to submit it, there was a change in the process or something. So you want to make sure you check the site regularly for updates. In the description, I'm going to put like the link to Hcpc support and resources, basically documents that you need to go through if you're considering starting the process. Last thing I want to say is stay organized. Make sure you plan your application process very properly. If you're going to be doing the IBMS first and the Hcpc, plan it properly. Know the document you're sending for what, know the requirements you need. Organize your documents, have everything on hand so you're not caught unawares at any point in time, and start early. Things are changing, updates are being made every day, changes are being made every day. So if you think you want to go through the Hcpc registration, today is the day to start. Start getting your documents, start applying for your transcript, start trying to get everything you need to get. Reach out to people if you need help, reach out to colleagues. With that, I say good luck on your journey to becoming a UK registered biomedical scientist.